I mean, what a performance by Sasha Farnberg and Gomazulu.
My goodness, he's unbelievable in every aspect of his game.
But he drop kicked it. It went over the line. The Argentinian caught it. Try.
Since when are we allowed to put the ball in crooked?
They weren't going to compete anyway. They wouldn't have got their hands on the ball, even if it had been straight.
There's something not quite clicking in the All Blacks at the moment. Losing to South Africa in the World Cup and then us coming third in the Women's World Cup, you need to start looking and asking some honest questions.
I'm a big Argentina and Australia fan this weekend.
Oh, mate.
Right, welcome to Rivals. And, one of the Rugby Championship teams seems to have a bigger smile than the other team, even though they both won. Victor?
Yeah, I mean, 2 weeks in a row for South Africa. Just playing unbelievable rugby at the moment. I thought in that first half, I don't just moan about the ref when we're winning. I thought in that first half, the ref really tried to keep Argentina in the game. But just the character the guys showed. I mean, after that Colby incident where they gave the try, you could just see the frustration, and the guys just said, listen, we're going to bounce back. We're coming back immediately, and they went and scored immediately. So, and then in the second half, coming out, I mean, what a performance by Sasha Farnberg and Gomazulu. We all said last year he's a special player. And on Saturday, he just showed it. I think scored 37 points, most points ever scored by a Springbok in a test match. He was just outstanding. And there's so many guys around us. I mean, in the forward pack, Peter Stefsitoy is still playing fantastic. I think Jasper he's on a roll. He's making it's got such a big impact in that team. And then, Sasha and the guys outside were brilliant.
Even you were impressed, JK.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it was an outstanding performance. I disagree with you, Victor, a little bit in the first half. I thought that, the Argentinians were pretty good. I thought they were really physical. I thought they were playing some really good stuff around the ruck. I liked some of their phase play. But, for me, I thought it was South Africa were outstanding. I mean, Sasha reminds me of Dan Carter. I think, he has got all the skills. The thing that scares me the most is that, and I've been critical of it a wee bit, changing the side so much, but you've actually got 3 first-class, world-class first fives now. From what you've done and showing what Russie's done, showing some risk. And, retrospectively, maybe New Zealand hasn't shown enough risk, and that's going to be highlighted a wee bit this week with Bowden going down with an AC joint. But I just thought South Africa outstanding, mate. I thought it was actually pretty scary because I think they are well ahead of the other nations from a depth point of view. And I think what you've managed to do is give enough guys test experience.
Almost thought JK was going to say ahead in quality, but he doesn't want to go there.
No, I'm not going there, Victor. I mean, I've been bloody. Come on, mate. I've just said, you're I can't go too far, but I think that that was an incredible performance. I think Argentina were really good at times, but the second half performance and things that they were doing in the first half that didn't quite come off. I mean, I felt sorry for Colby. He was obviously just trying to pass that ball, right? He was just trying to kick past it. He actually wasn't dropping. He wasn't trying to drop kick it out. He was just trying to pass it to his mate. But I don't know what you saw Trimby, but we're coming for you, man. This is now Victor and I are now mates, and we're coming for you. We're coming for you in Chicago, but have to be on your game to beat the South African side when they're like that.
Yeah, South Africa, there's definitely the benchmark in world rugby. And yeah, that backhanded compliment, Victor, that you weren't happy with quite there. He's complimenting you in the depth, but that top tier, that first 15 that they can put out of South Africans is just incredible now. It's just that balance of kind of freshness and Tony Brown and everything, all the physicality and kicking game and confrontation that we'd expect from South Africa. Sasha Feinberg and Gomazulu, not to get bogged down on him, but it's worth getting bogged down on him. He is the most complete 10 we'll see. And JK, maybe another backhanded compliment by comparing him to a Kiwi, but the best Kiwi, one of the best Kiwis of all time. I would see it through Irish eyes, but there's I don't think Ireland have ever had an out half anywhere near that complete, or a player that complete. Maybe. My goodness, he's unbelievable in every aspect of his game. He's just an absolute world beater. The physicality, his calmness, his his kicking game, his pace, his top end pace to outstrip everybody. It was like watching the best kid in mini rugby just run amok and be better than everyone else. So yeah, his all round game is as complete as his double barreled name, Sasha Feinberg and Gomazulu. We all better learn how to pronounce that, because he's gonna be huge over the next number of years, I'd say.
What's it been like in South Africa, Victor? Are you getting carried away after that performance?
Please get carried away, please.
I think the guys will be very happy with that performance, but I think we might see a lot of changes for this weekend coming. I've said it before, South Africa, a lot of the time we're not the best when everyone rates us highly and they think we're the best now. But I think we might see some of the older guys getting opportunity and say, listen, guys, these youngsters or these younger players showed what they can do. Andre, Jesse, Franco Mostert, here's your chance. Go show us you still belong in the group and you still want to compete with these younger players. So, I think the competition is on. I spoke to Andre and Jesse and them halftime. They still look positive for the group, but you can just see something on their faces of, we're not that first choice anymore like we were a year ago. So it's going to be difficult for South Africa to put another performance like that out. But I think with the squad that we've got I definitely think there's going to be changes. I think there's going to be quite a few changes. I'll see those guys playing once to show, listen, we're still competing for that number one position.
What didn't go well, Victor? What do you think they can improve on? Do you think have they still yet to put a 80-minute performance together, or are we being a bit negative towards the opposition?
No, I was really frustrated in the first half, Jake, and you always talk about the South Africans slowing down the pace. I thought Argentina was slowing them down. It was a stop-start. That first half couldn't get going. I still believe there's a few referee decisions that I couldn't. I mean, we need to talk about Colby. How often did you see with a penalty kick, someone take the ball, he kicks it to the kicker, whoever's going to play? He's not even close to the mark. You can see he didn't. He just wanted to kick the ball to the guy who needed to start the game. So, there's a few things that I thought just couldn't get into the game. But I mean, once it got going, it was fantastic. But for me, and even talking about Sasha's big thing now is he can't play a game like that every Saturday. There needs to be times where he just goes through the thing, just do the basics really well. And within a game, there will be opportunity to show his skill set. But, there's been a lot of talk about him. And the other guy, they're talking about Skynan Moody at 13. And Trimby, we've talked about the aerial battle being so important. And I think there was a lot of kickings from 9 on the touchlines for the wingers. But now with Moody at 13 for South Africa, we can even play the aerial game in the middle of the field because he's so good at winning those balls back and, giving us broken field in the midfield, which is nice because you can attack both sides. So, I think everyone is very happy with the team, but I think Rassie will be hard on them and there will be a lot of changes to make sure the guys aren't complacent going into the last game.
Let's just go through that Colby try where he put the ball down for a 22, drop kicked the ball to his mate to kick it, and it went over the try line. The Argentinian scored it, and I don't see what's wrong with it. I mean, it was a drop kick. It doesn't matter what his intention was, but he drop kicked it. It went over the line. The Argentinian caught it. Try. How can you argue with that?
Oh, boys.
You
can't argue with it. I just think
it's in the spirit of the game. Come on.
Yeah.
We all knew he didn't kick it off. That was just passing the ball to the guy.
The spirit. This is what I wanted to talk to you about, Victor. And, Trimby, you're out the backs with me, but Victor's been pushing in a
Stay
scrum.
on topic, mate. I want to
Stay on topic. I'm staying on
kick.
topic, mate. Because what is happening to our game? So tell me when we're allowed to put our hands in rucks, and tell me when it doesn't become a fair contest in the scrum. So we're putting it in crooked, right? So what Victor's saying is, obviously that drop kick, he was kicking it to his mate, right? And it'd be lovely if the game went to him and said, right, because that's our values. Is it within the letter of the law? Yes, it is, Ricardo. But answer me this, Victor. Since when are we allowed to put the ball in crooked in the scrum? And it's been happening for the last... Did I miss something in the rules? And then on Saturday and all through the championship, I've seen halfbacks put their hand in a ruck to palm the ball back so they can do their kick. So tell me where those rules... Have I missed something, or are we just allowed to cheat now?
Just before we go there, Trimby, can you give me your thoughts on the Colby try?
Yeah, for me, it was a try for Argentina, and fair enough. It was just such an unusual action for Colby. Even if he's trying to get the ball into the hands of whoever it is going to take the goal line 20 or goal line dropout, just to drop kick it to him is such an unusual thing. You see lads, it used to be 22 dropouts. You see lads passing the ball around to kind of shape around, get their shape together to make the kick, but to actually drop kick it, I think was really naive of Colby. I think it was an impression of just how comfortable he is. It looked like he was in the trading paddock, just mucking around, or kind of just had a bit of a brain fart. But yeah, he dropped his guard for a second. And I think as soon as he did it, he went, "Oh, I'm in trouble here." This, and to be fair, he made amends the rest of his game, and he's plenty of credit. If anybody's going to get away with that, it's Colby. But yeah, it was just a dumb moment from someone like one of the world's best performers. But yeah, just a really silly moment. I think he knew immediately.
So the letter of the law, Ricardo, since you rudely interrupted me when I had another topic that I wanted to answer. So yeah, the letter of the law, the question that Victor said, and Trimby, you're right, the letter of the law was wrong, right? So score the try. But the letter of law in rugby is so up in the air now, like I said. And answer me this, Victor. Is there too much pressure in the scrum now that you can get a hook, so you can't hook the ball anymore? But every halfback, including ours, is putting the ball in under the hooker's feet. What happened to putting it in straight?
Yeah, I think a team like South Africa would love the ball to go straight into the scrum. I mean, that will give us opportunity to really go at teams and dominate them. Now, with the way you can put the ball in, that channel one ball is so quick. So if you do that really well, a team like Japan uses it well. Australia used it when they weren't so secure of their scrum. It's just skew the hooker, just touch it, and it's at the 8's feet. So, yeah, all these funny laws that they bring in. I mean, the ball should be in the middle. I mean, the line out. These days, they say you can throw the ball skew. If they don't compete, it's fine. So I'm just saying, so if I'm attacking and there's no defender in front of my winger, I can pass the ball forward because there's no defender. Where are we getting to that? I mean, I don't know who makes that. You need to be able to have is to put the ball in straight and line out. So I don't understand.
So for me, this is a massive problem with our game, right? So the ball should go in straight. If you throw the ball in the line out, it has to go straight, regardless of what the opposition does. Who is coming up with these harebrained ideas? I don't get it.
No idea.
Because one of the fundamental constitutional things in our game is it must be a fair contest. So if you don't put the ball in straight, how can it be a fair contest?
Can I ask you a quick question?
But it can't be competed for. If someone else isn't in the air to compete, then it's not going to be a fair contest anyway. Or there's going to be no opportunity for the opposition to disrupt that line out. I don't have an issue with it, and the reason why I don't have an issue with it is because I want to see as much rugby played as possible. Stop blowing your whistle, ref, and here's an opportunity where they weren't going to compete anyway. They wouldn't have got their hands on the ball even if it had been straight. So why don't we just all shut up and play some rugby?
You haven't been in a line out. So if I play a hooker that I know struggles with his throwing, I'm going to go to the front of the line out, contest there, and force him to go to the back because that's a skill he needs to have. Now I go to the force. I force him to throw a difficult ball. Let's say it's a difficult day, conditions, the wind's blowing. But now he can throw skew. So he doesn't have the skill to play a test match rugby.
Why do you get someone
it's
up
just
at the
about
back?
the way I want to put him under pressure. Now all of a sudden he can throw skew if I'm not there and he's not under pressure.
Or jump.
No, Ricardo, no, that's not right.
Like you spent the last.
What Victor is saying is that it's a core skill.
I know
right?
what he's saying.
Core kill in the game.
But
Trimby, I just want to get back to
if it's a forward pass to the wing and there's no one in front of him. No one could have taken
the last 10 weeks. Hold on a minute. Listen, you spent the last 10 weeks telling me, I want to speed up the game. I want a good, fast game. You know, I want plenty of action.
Within the law.
Hold on, let me finish.
If you had to let me finish,
and no one else is
if you had to let me finish, I would have said to Trimby, I understand your theory, but there's other ways that we should be speeding the game up, not with the core principles of our game. And the core principle of our game is the 10, the 2 needs to throw it down the middle. If you compete, that's up to you. The other thing that needs to be done is the ball needs to go in straight. We can speed the game up other ways. Like, how often have we said, have a 30-second shot clock on the thing and they've got to set the scrum? Have a 30-second shot clock and they've got to throw the ball in. So I understand what you're saying, but you can't take our core fundamentals of the game out of it.
What happens at the same principle applies at a breakdown. Whenever someone comes in to clear out a ruck, and then someone who's looking to poach or looking to jackal, they do that, the matador, and they bounce back. Someone comes off their feet. So if they're not competing at that breakdown, then you're allowed to come off your feet or smash through that space. Are you happy with that? Because that's the same principle as the line out, not competing.
Well, the trouble I've got with that, and I'll let Victor, because he hit more rucks than me. The trouble I've got with that is it comes back to the ref's interpretation, right? And so the trouble is with the ref, and it happened a couple of times in the South African game, where a couple of times he said it's okay to be off your feet because the matador effect, but other times he missed it. The trouble is it's up for interpretation. That's my biggest problem, right? So everything is up for interpretation. But what I want to get
pulled out or didn't pull out is up for interpretation.
Exactly. Yeah, that's totally up for interpretation by the referee, right? So if he's not looking at that, and he picked up a couple on Saturday, why should we let the opposition pull out of that ruck? Isn't it just easy to say you have to stay?
Can't believe you both won, and here we are arguing about the referees. Can we?
I'm the bad guy today.
Yeah,
Am I the bad guy because you both won? Is that
Trimby is starting to make excuses for November already.
Exactly, mate. That's my thing, Trimby. You've just come here, mate, trying to make up excuses because we're coming at you.
Well, let's talk about the Bledisloe Cup. You know, only like how easy is to defend? You only have to win one game, and the All Blacks won that game. Were you happy, JK, with the performance?
Oh, so you want to change tradition now, do you, Ricardo?
Yeah, I want to go to 3 tests for the Bledisloe
Cup. Is that what you want to do?
Yeah, and you want to go back to Sid going, putting the ball in. So we're both on the same page.
Actually, halfbacks, just before I came onto the scene, used to throw the ball in, mate. Wingers used to throw it in. What did you say? Was I happy that we've retained the Bledisloe Cup?
Are you happy with the performance, not the result, but the performance by the All Blacks?
I was really happy with the win. I thought the performance, there's something not quite clicking in the All Blacks at the moment. When you see South Africa playing with confidence, it looks like we're not playing with confidence at the moment. It looks like we're, how often do you see an All Black side get out by 20 and then not kick on and play with incredible confidence and play with what they see in front of them? That might have been because they had some early injuries, but I don't think this All Black team is playing with the confidence that I'd like them to be playing with at the moment. So was I happy? I was happy with the Bledisloe Cup. I think there's still a long way to go with our performance.
Victor, what did you think of us?
Put the knife in. I'm agreeing too much with JK this morning, but I'm feeling the same. I think a good win for New Zealand. This is a very improved Australian team, and they never do go away. But like JK is saying, in the past, if I played the All Blacks and they get a 20-point lead start, you couldn't stop them because everything started working from them. All their offloads, all the funny passes, you were just in trouble. And all of a sudden, it feels like they're playing not to lose rather than to go out there and to go and express himself. especially when they get a start like that. Normally when New Zealand get a start like that, then they just all over you. You don't get opportunity to stop them because the momentum is there. All the passes are working. They're pushing it out the back. All the little offloads are coming down. And they just get that momentum in the game. And at this stage, it just doesn't look like they've got that confidence. They say, listen, we've got this. Let's go. Let's open up. Let's go into fifth gear. So, I think they will feel they're still not there. Yes, great win under pressure, especially after a performance like they had in Wellington. Probably the pressure is there. They just need to win first. And let's see what happens this week. Maybe that will give them confidence, go into this next game and say, listen, let's go express ourselves.
Trimby?
It's just the problem with New Zealand is at the minute, it was a pretty comprehensive win. Very good performance. I think Roygaard's really important for upping the tempo and just giving you guys just another option going forward. But I agree with Victor. That's what I see as well. I just felt like if you get that big start and that's it, you're not happy. You just continue just to dominate. You set a tone and you continue to dominate. It just feels like a combination of New Zealand have just come off where they have been for decades, and then the expectation and all of that just becomes pressure, manifested as pressure on the pitch, and guys feeling that pressure and not wanting to make a mistake, or kind of build that foundation of get some wins and then you can start to thrive and do what New Zealand did in the past. But as well as that, I think Australia are very good. I think they've turned the corner massively under Schmidt, and just what's acceptable, or the level of performance that we can expect from a lot of international teams now, especially in the Rugby Championship, is real competition. And Argentina, it was a bit of a blip in the second half. They got really blown away, but everybody's getting blown away by South Africa at the minute. Argentina, I think, will compete next week. I think Australia will compete next week as well. But the point I'm making is the competition is so fierce now that New Zealand can't just cruise into running away with games like they would have in the past. And everybody needs to get used to that, JK. And it's just tough because you haven't had it that way for so long.
Trimby, we're not going to get used to it. There's no way we're going to get used to it because it's not what we do. I think
they already need to get used to being number 2 in the world, so can't let that go as well.
Well, I'm waiting for you guys when you're number 1, because when you were number 1, according to you, you play like shit. So that's what I'm waiting for.
We're number 1 at the moment, aren't we?
No, you're not number 1 yet, mate. You got to wait till next week. We're still number 1, I think.
We were number 1 after
South Africa's number 1.
This is last week.
I didn't read that article, but I'm trying to ignore you, Victor. But Trimby, I think the valid point, and Victor, you raised it as well. Like, one of the hardest things that New Zealand did was we played the house down in between World Cups, and then between 87 and 2011, the pressure really got to us, and that's what I felt. And then from 2011, we won 2 in a row. And that team was the team that I believe, if they were 20 points up, they'd put 60 on you. And you probably lived that too, Victor, right? But I just feel that there's a little bit of a handbrake on at the moment with this team, and they are suffering from pressure. But that's not acceptable. I think what you've got to be able to do if you're wearing that All Black jersey is you've got to walk towards that pressure. Yeah, they came off a hiding. Our record is probably not what it has been, but you've still got to be able to play with confidence and play a New Zealand style once you get those points ahead. So I think it's a thing that Gilbert Anoka used to talk about, and red head and blue head, about how you're reacting under pressure. So for me, they played even with 20 points up as if they were worried about winning. So that's something I think you need to discuss as a team. Are we suffering from the pressure, Trimby, right? And I don't want to bring this up again, but like you guys when you go to World Cups, right?
Sorry, you don't want to bring that up?
Yeah, I didn't want to bring it up, but I've decided to anyway.
Good deflection.
and the same thing would have happened if the English women hadn't have won. There's these moments where it creates 10 times more pressure, and Ireland is going to be that until they get the monkey off their back at World Rugby. And I felt that we were feeling a little bit like that on Saturday, and it might have been because of we're losing to South Africa by a record amount, blah, blah, blah. But it's still not acceptable. You have to work mentally to get through that.
I just think there's more. So next week, I mean, Skelton's obviously back with La Rochelle. Valentini's injured, unavailable. I don't know what the crack is there.
Needs to be back.
James, he's going to be back. Okay,
He's
that's
back,
going to make a big difference as we saw with the second test in the Lions. James O'Connor, I don't think is the solution at 10. They can do a lot more there. Tate McDermott went off early. Like, there's a lot of things that were disruptive for Australia away on the road in New Zealand, and yet they still made it very, very competitive. So I think next week's going to be really tough. JK, is going to be a long afternoon. It'll take a big performance to go on the road and beat Australia, I think.
What's New Zealand going to do in that 10? With Bowden being out, are they just going back to Damon McKenzie, or is there new kid around? That's what we've been talking about. Who's the youngster coming through that can fill that role?
And I think that's one of our issues, Victor. I don't think our depth at this current level is there. I think Ruben Love will step into that space, and we need to give him game time there. I really like Ruben. I think he's an outstanding fullback, and I think he can be a great 10. And I think what we learned, in the 2011 World Cup is you actually need 3 standoffs. You've got them in South Africa at the moment, I believe. We have 2, and we need to create our 3rd, and he needs to play. And we need to bring some young guys in and start playing them. So a leaf out of your South African book is something that I think we need to do in the next 2 years. And Trimby, same thing happens with Ireland, right? When you get a dominant first 5, you got to build someone with depth, So you've had Johnny, who's just sort of, left us. And how's that gap looking? So we're the same, Victor, and I'm really hoping that they're going to give Ruben a run this week. I think he's a real talented young player, and I think he can be a really good 10 as well.
Yeah. So I think it's having that competition and bring it, kind of pushing each other on. Jack Crowley and Sam Prendergast obviously are going to hopefully be good for each other, but they're both still young. Both, just need to get that experience and time in the saddle. But yeah, once Johnny Sexton's been so dominant for so long, then you create a problem ultimately. Of all the big performances at the weekend, and South Africa was one of them, New Zealand, Australia, good game, whatever, the big performances were on the golf course. Let's face it. It was, Europe in the Ryder Cup first couple of days, then US bounced back. But Victor, your chip at halftime.
Did they show it? I was worried if they showed it. You see, that was, I must say, it's the best sporting moment of the weekend, I think.
And you backed it up. You did it twice.
Twice. Dean Burmeister didn't know what to do. Getting out-chipped by a second rower. It's just all about
you need to get a job. Okay?
South Africans.
You need to get a job, Victor. You're way too good at golf to have a real job. So obviously you just play golf.
We love the big moments, South Africans. And that's why we double world champs. I had to put it in there. I haven't mentioned it yet today. Huh?
Yeah. Yeah,
because earlier on you were talking about how, we're going to make some changes this weekend. It felt like you were sticking to the party line, that fake humility. Let's call it a fake humility, will we?
Yeah,
sticking to the party line.
I was trying.
Yeah, and the mask slipped, and we saw the real South African.
Yeah, we should have like a bingo.
That's why. Actually, you're right. You need to be very, very careful. I think you could be imagine if you guys lose in Twickenham, and you're not very good at Twickenham. To be fair.
What do you mean? I don't think we've lost there in 10 years.
Come on, mate.
Remember the last time we played them at Twickenham, JK?
Yeah. Can you remember that?
Shut up, Ricardo. I don't need you reminding me. I'm trying to
BT. Remember what happened?
Well, I think we need to make sure that every show we get someone, that Victor says how many times South Africa's won the World Cup, that JK mentions the fact that Ireland keep getting knocked out in the World Cup quarterfinals. And then Trimby will get one for you. So we'll just make sure we have that consistency every week that we've always got.
I'm too unpredictable. Ricardo, I'm too unpredictable. There's too much variety to what I say.
Do I need to bring up that I think Super Rugby's finished in this hemisphere again or not? Is someone going to listen to that or not?
Maybe Trimby would enjoy talking about Leinster's performance this weekend, starting in the URC, getting thrashed by the Stormers.
I am as happy with that Leinster performance as you are, Victor.
You'd love it. With us.
It concerns me for Chicago, but I'm happy with it for now.
But that's because most of their players are playing for South Africa, Victor.
That's true as well. They're key players.
But when you're talking about the performance of the week, you talk about the Ryder Cup. But one of the great performances was England winning the Women's World Cup, because they have been such a dominant team for so many years, and to finally get that World Cup winners medal in front of a massive, massive crowd was a huge event.
Yeah, great success. I mean, we actually picked it on the show. When you go into a World Cup like that and you've been dominant and you lose to New Zealand down here, I just think that I'm just really pleased for them as athletes, and I think they deserved it. I think they played well. I played with John Mitchell. He's a great coach. He's been to the highest level, so he knows how to win. And I just think they thoroughly deserved it. And they're setting, at the moment, they're a bit like South African men's. They're setting the pace and setting the level in the female game. I was really disappointed with our results from our New Zealand team. I felt that we should have made the final. If we'd made the final, then it's anyone's game, I think. So I was pretty disappointed. I know they'll be disappointed. I think we need to have a look at, our high performance pathways for both our men and our women at the moment. I think we need to take, as Victor's mentioned, losing to South Africa in the World Cup and then us coming third in the Women's World Cup. You need to start looking and asking some honest questions. So for me, I think they deserved it, and they're setting the standard, both, I think, from a crowd point of view, from a competition point of view, from a payment point of view. So what do we need to do to, get back there?
Yeah, it's a good point, actually, because, when you don't perform, that honesty is really important to make sure you improve and get better. So, as athletes, the Black Ferns will be sitting there going, we're not happy with what happened. And, it starts from now. We start trying to win the next World Cup from today or from whenever they lost. So, I
just want to add to that, Ricardo, because I think that the female game has improved so much that there's still some sides that were just really happy to participate, and I think that's important. But there are more and more female sides that can win this. So we're now extended the amount of people that can go and win that World Cup. And so it becomes a really, really good competition. And it's something that, I think men's rugby has been doing over the last 20 years, where teams are more and more competitive, and it's going to get harder and harder, and that's how it should be.
JK, is there really a chance for any other team except England and New Zealand to have won that? Isn't that something Canada maybe, but isn't that something that the women's game need to work on, is to really put an effort into some other teams? I mean, we've tried to make women's rugby professional. We've got one professional team. They'll need to pump money into that to really get their girls to be able to train full year if they want the other teams to be competitive at that level.
Yeah, so I think, Victor, the answer is it's very, very difficult. And I don't know what it's like in Ireland, Tribby, but you need to invest in the women's game without much financial return. And that you have to invest in that. And I know New Zealand Rugby has invested an incredible amount of money
in the men's game as well. They must create their own pipeline of income.
Yeah, exactly. And they will. I mean, they will become standalone. But initially, I think South Africa, what they need to do is actually invest in the female game so that they get the results. But you might not get that payback for 10 years. So it is an investment. I think, like I said, some teams, like, I don't know if you saw, the Samoans women's team, where they were just so happy to be there and so happy to play. And I think that's important in the pathway. The next step to that is, they've got to start having the strength and the competition behind them to start competing.
What about the Irish, Tribby? How did they see the Women's World Cup?
I think they saw definitely saw the World Cup as a whole as success. I think they were pleased. They're disappointed in the way things went. They probably had an opportunity to big first half performance and then got knocked out. And I think they felt like they left a little bit out there. But more generally, the World Cup was a big success. And JK, you're talking about having a rationale to invest in this. You might not get a return for 5-10 years, but I think that rationale, some of that risk is being mitigated by the quality of the World Cup and the pathways. Yes, we'll have a conversation about that. The professionalism, yes. The product, all that, yes. But people want to see this, so there are big crowds turning up to watch women's rugby and to watch a women's rugby World Cup, and that's the most important thing. So what that says is commercially, this could be viable, maybe sooner than we think, or maybe it gives a rationale and mitigates the risk of or investing for a long period of time and not getting anything back. So I think it's probably good that England won it, because that's going to be the hotbed of women's rugby, and it's the rest of the world's kind of going to get the crumbs from that table of fame, I suppose. So that's the most important thing. Yeah, we can talk about pathways, that we can talk about New Zealand getting ready for the next World Cup, all that on professionalism. Yes, that will improve the product, but we've demonstrated that we can create something with a bit of a buzz, and people will turn up in their droves. It sounds like as well, there's a lot of new people, Victor, to your point, new people to women's rugby. They haven't just come across from the men's game. So, I mean, that's going to help the men's game as well. They're all going to feed each other, and the pie is going to get bigger more generally.
Yeah, and the thing is, I mean, this show, case in point, we've got three miserable sides like you three, but whereas you watch the Women's World Cup, the players are personalities. They have fun, they smile, they're dancing around, so that's driving attention, and people are going along to watch. They're following them on social media. So, there is an ethos around women's rugby that is attractive to fans, and that's why we got such great numbers.
JK was dancing around as well last week, weren't you, JK?
Yeah, mate.
On the stage.
Yeah, mate. I think it's a really good point, Ricardo. I think that, we've media trained out of a lot of our men the personalities, and we need to get back to having personalities in our game. And when you see, your South African women's team, Victor, dancing onto the paddock, that is what people want to see. And I think that, we've overdone it in the men's game. So we've lost, I'm talking about New Zealand. I don't know about in Ireland, but you talk to some of our male athletes, and it's like these stock standard answers instead of, we want to see a bit more personality, I believe. And the female game, an interesting thing for me, Trimby, is in New Zealand, it did bring a different audience, and I don't know if the game was ready to keep captured. So I think the female game needs to understand whether they follow the men's from a tournament point of view, or a crowd point of view, or a location point of view. We're really fortunate down in this part of the world that our females can go and play rugby league as well. There's no rules. They can go within seasons. And I just think it needs to be a different clientele and a different way we promote that game.
JK, that's a really good point. I mean, about how important it is, let's look at the men's game, to let personalities be personalities. Rusty's a great point. Like, we need people that are big personalities, that are different, to sell the game, because it's competitive for attention now, and we need those big personalities. And so as a game, and it's not only the game but the fans, they've got to, they criticize someone because they're a bit different, because they wear stupid glasses, because they dance or they, like Rusty puts up videos or stuff. But we need those personalities. Victor, I didn't realize that you had a sense of humor. Now that, after all that time watching you on the field playing, I thought, he's a grumpy bugger, but he actually got a smile.
We're not allowed to in South Africa. You need to be focused, no smiles. So Rossi changed the best. I mean, you still get the Sia and Ox coming out singing, and then just behind them you'll see Luet and Eben not smiling, just standing up straight. So we can still have our own personalities. We weren't allowed to smile in the bus. And I must say, the one guy that taught me that was Laurie Mains. I played with him with the Cats for a year or two with Rassie. And from a Wednesday, if he saw you smile anywhere close to the changing room, you wouldn't play on a Saturday. It's just like, you're out. So, learn from him.
So, it's probably a good time to stop now that Victor's talking about smiling. You've had enough smiling this week. And are you comfortable going into London? Because obviously big South African fan base in London, playing Argentina?
Yes. I would have been worried because like I always say, we're not as good when everything is going well. But I think what's happening within that squad and players pushing to stay in the mix, I think there'll be a few changes, and those guys will also step up and show, listen, we can still do this.
And JK, it's really important for the All Blacks that they string two performances together. You comfortable against Australia in Perth?
Oh, we need 5 points, mate. We need South Africa to lose. And if they don't lose, they need to win by 4, and then we need to win by 5. And then I think we're all drawn up again. And
no,
I don't know what
you're still losing point difference. So see,
I hate it
Jackie,
when-
that's the thing. Just keep everything within your own hands. Don't let it hope someone else lose or whatever. Just focus on your own game.
Victor, go back to drinking that pink water bottle, mate. I've had enough of this today.
Yeah.
My creatine.
All right, we're looking forward.
Going to the gym now.
Looking forward to
Creatine,
seeing you
mate,
in
you know-
Chicago, Trimby.
Yeah, you
Look
coming to
forward to
Chicago, Jimmy?
I'm in Chicago. Yeah.
Going to see you there, my brother.
See you there. One of us will be happy. I'm a big
Alright.
Argentina and Australia fan this weekend.
Oh, mate.
I will clear my schedule if
That
the
is
two
not-
games go the way I want them to go. I'll be here.
Jeez.
Right, let's stop now. That's enough rivals for this week.